Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and welcome to our episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that can be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today is, do you think that alpha packs are worth it in Rainbow Six Siege? Well, for the most part, in its current implementation, I would say that they are worth it if you have a lot of renown. If you've purchased every single one of the operators, you've already saved up enough for the next batch. If you don't have the season patch, you already have all the skins, you just got a lot of renown kind of burning a hole in your wallet. Why not buy some alpha packs? There's literally nothing else to really purchase right now, and so this seems like a good alternative. On top of that, this has also just been a nice feature at getting people to stay in their game till the very end. One big problem with casual lately, and I'm assuming it still happens, is that there's a bit of a revolving door. Because of course casual doesn't have a rank, if things don't go their way, they'll leave as soon as they die. They'll just join another casual game, and since one-step matchmaking has been so fast lately, you can get into another match really quickly, and there's no consequences there. And so with the addition of alpha packs, it just gives people more of a reason to stay until the very end and have a fair match the entire time. And so with all that being said, I think this has been a cool addition into the game. Is it perfect? No, I think there's some ways that they could improve upon it, but I think right now it's in a decent spot. Now, where I start to run into some issues with it though, and I realize I'm going to be very cynical here because it hasn't happened yet, is when Ubisoft tries to monetize this and allow us to buy these alpha packs with real world money. Now, I know it hasn't happened, but I think their community manager even said that this is something that they plan on doing, but if that is the case, I think there needs to be some improvement here. First of all, these things are incredibly expensive. It requires 360,000 renown just to unlock 100 of them. That took me months of playing Siege practically every single day just to get to the point where I could even unlock that 100. I would not be surprised if you converted that 360,000 renown, it would come to about $50. I went to the in-game shop, I kind of did some conversion there, and that sounds about right. I'm kind of being conservative here, but I would say that for 100 alpha packs, you're going to probably have to spend about $50 if the other in-game items are anything to go by. Now, this in and itself isn't really a negative as long as people are getting what they want out of the alpha packs, but I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed by this. Someone did the math, and there's apparently a 3, 4, maybe a 5% chance of getting a legendary item. Now, not everyone wants the legendaries. There are some really cool epics and rare items here, but most people want those legendary items. They want that awesome loot so they can show off to their friends and just have them to experience in-game. I gotta admit, the first time I got the new Thermite skin, I was pretty excited, and so far I've been like the only one I've seen in-game that's actually achieved it because of this very low drop rates. Now, a counter argument to all of this is that you're complaining about cosmetic items. This has no impact on the game. This money is going to the further development of said game. Where's the problem? And while I do understand that viewpoint, and it's a valid argument, I think the reason why it rubs me the wrong way is that there's currently no reliable way to get the item, or at least the unique legendary item that you want. My fear is that with this current system, Ubisoft wants you to spend hundreds of dollars seeking that unique item that you've always wanted, but never have a reliable way of actually going about it. If you look over at a game like Overwatch, for example, not only do I believe is their drop rate a lot higher on their legendaries, but they have an in-game currency that allows you to eventually get the items that you desire. There is currently nothing like that in Rainbow Six Siege with these alpha packs. And so I guess the point that I'm trying to get across is that I think it would be great if Ubisoft tried to rise above the competition here and was a bit more fair to the player who is going to eventually be spending this kind of money. One idea that I came up with is that if there is a legendary drop, give us 3 to choose from and we get to pick 1. So that way we get to see what's available out there. If we already have a couple of them, that will reduce the amount of duplicates. It's very annoying to get a duplicate for a legendary because the conversion rate, I think, is like 5,000 renown. That basically allows you to buy 1 more alpha pack. It's absolutely pathetic. But also, it would just give players a higher chance of getting the item that they desire. That system would just seem a lot more fair. And so once again, I know that this is all cosmetic items. This has no impact on the gameplay. I don't think that means that it's above criticism. And so I guess to answer your question is that I think alpha packs are good right now, but they could be better. And especially if they do eventually try to monetize it, Hopefully they will do something to go above and beyond the competition and at least be a bit more fair to the players and the people that are buying them. The next question comes from a lot of you, and that was that you wanted my opinion on the recent operator leaks for Rainbow Six Siege. So if you weren't aware, there was a leak of the pictures, kind of the avatars, of 2 of the operators. But that's about it. And while I know people are excited about this because I'm right there with you, I want the new content, I want to play on the new map, I want to figure out what these new operators are all about, we're not really getting any information from this. I mean, it literally is just a picture of the operator. One's a blonde, which I guess is cool, and one looks like they're from China. I mean, it's the Chinese operators. Like, it's not really all that interesting. I think the only thing that we can take away from it is that in one of the pictures, the Polish operator appears to be using some sort of pistol with a weapon sight. As we all know right now, there are no weapon sights for pistols in Siege. And so this could mean 2 things. Either Ubisoft is going back on their stance that they didn't want to give weapon sights to the pistols. They said this a really long time ago. Apparently they didn't want the secondary weapons to be too effective, and so that's why we don't have red dots on them. That is one thing. Or maybe this Polish operator, their specialty is that they get to use a weapon sight on their pistol. If that sounds like the lamest gadget or specialty for an operator, I absolutely agree with you on that. And so if I had to take a guess, either this is a fake, some people can make some amazing fakes out there, or we are going to eventually get weapon sights on our pistols now, and this is just the first kind of illustration of that. At the end of the day, though, I wish I could talk more about this. I know that people are really excited, and I'm right there with you. We're going to have to wait for some more information to actually get some in-depth conversations on these new operators. The next question comes from Mark, and it is, what do you think about a menu in Siege that allows you to turn off the maps that you don't want to play? I'm surprised this doesn't already exist. Well, it sort of does exist with the matchmaking preferences, but it doesn't seem to work whatsoever, and apparently Ubisoft realizes that it doesn't really work at all. If you go into your multiplayer settings, you can go down and actually change what maps you want to see in the multiplayer, but of course that doesn't really work. I have Bartlett, Favela, Yacht all off, and I think every single time I play, I get all 3 of those in a row without fail. Now, it does, of course, take everyone's matchmaking preferences into consideration. So let's say everyone else has those maps on, but I've talked to all my friends that I play with, they all have those off. I'm sure the enemy probably also has a lot of those off because those maps aren't very popular, but it doesn't really work. Thankfully, Ubisoft realizes that this is something that players want, and they're going to be going on in and reworking the system. And so while they haven't given us any details or anything like that, if I had to take a guess, this probably means that we're going to have a higher chance of playing on the maps that we want and a lower chance of playing on the ones that are maybe less desirable. Now, I realize this might be a bit disappointing for some people because they just simply like the variety. They like Favela. And while I will admit that I have kind of grown to enjoy certain aspects of Favela, it feels weird saying that, but the fact that I play it every single day now, I've kind of grown to appreciate some aspects of it. It would be nice if I didn't have to play it every single day because it's clearly not one of my favorites. And so yeah, I agree with you. Ubisoft seems to agree with you, and hopefully we're going to see some improvements in the very near future. The next question comes from Jonathan, and it is, do you think that Ubisoft should do weekly challenges that give you an alpha pack, but it has to be a bit challenging? Yeah, I'm 100% on board with this idea, but I'd also be very surprised if Ubisoft ever decided to implement it. You have to remember that the current challenges reward maybe a couple hundred renown depending on how difficult they are. Alpha packs require 4,500 renown to unlock one of them if you have the season pass, or 5,000 renown. That's a pretty big difference. And so while it'd be really cool if they did have these challenges, especially if they were very difficult, I just don't see it happening. If they ever did decide to do it though, I feel like the challenges themselves would need to be pretty broad and not operator specific like they are right now, or even, unit specific. If it says get 50 kills with Ash or something like that, people are really gonna fight over playing as Ash. Like, that's not gonna be acceptable. That'd probably result in a lot more team killing, a lot more trolling, and so it'd probably need to be along the lines of capture the objective 50 times or something like that. Like something difficult, but something that you can do on every single one of the operators so people aren't fighting over those operators. And so, yes, I agree with you. I think this would be great, but I wouldn't hold my breath because I just don't see it happening. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on what what we discussed today. Do you agree with me on my stance on alpha packs? Do you think I'm being a bit too cynical because it's all about cosmetic items? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you would like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.